Hello everyone, Sally here, and welcome back to another episode of Truly Bedrock Season 2. I hope you're doing fantastic today. Today we're going to be working on a few other things around our Guardian Farm. The Guardian Farm is actually on right now. I was not aware of this. That should not be on. It is now turned off. Anyway, we're going to be building some more underwater farms because those are oh so fun. As you might know, we already have two really large kelp farms that are underwater. These things are 48 by 16 and we got two of them. And now we're going to be building two massive underwater bamboo farms that are basically the same size. So 16 wide, 48 long. And that is even more of a pain because bamboo needs to be in air. So you gotta build a big old box around it, kind of like this thing right here. You gotta drain the box of all the water, and then you gotta build the entire farm and all the redstone, and it's gonna be a really big pain. So we're trying to build two of these in today's episode. As you can see, I can't even get in here because the drowns are very annoying. So that is the project for today. As you can see, we already have very good progress on the first farm. However, we're going to be building two of these, of course, and the other one is going to be going on the complete opposite side right over here. And this location, because symmetry is very important. In case you missed it, in the last episode, we defeated 14 withers without dying a single time, and we basically discovered like the secret to fighting withers. So now we have ourselves 17 beacons thanks to the gracious donations of the free samples from Guy, and we're gonna set up a total of 16 beacons directly around the Guardian Farm. That one is not turning on. Why is that one not turning on? Come on, I'm trying to do the demonstration here of like nice things and pretty things. You have all of the iron that you need. It's just not going to turn on. Is there something? Oh, there's blocks above it. Ah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I need to move the whole beacon base a block further out. That's fine. We're going to have ourselves strength 2. We're going to have resistance 2. We're going to have speed 1 and regeneration 1. And we're also going to have haste 2. All the way around our entire Guardian Farm base. Not to mention that we already got 4 conduits in the area, so we're going to be completely decked out when it comes to all of the effects and basically be immortal because, you know, this is such a dangerous area. We need all the effects that we can possibly muster. So the first thing on the agenda is to get this farm right here finished up a little bit more, and I'm about to do that right now. We're just gonna have a massive jump cut, and then a lot of progress will be done on this one. Once we get some more progress done on this one, and I know more or less what I'm doing, then we'll do some step-by-step building over on the opposite side, and then hopefully by the end of today's episode, we'll have at least one of these farms fully up and running. There's actually a lot of redstone that goes into these. There is a massive amount of rail lines underneath these. We gotta have a lot of auto droppers. We gotta have flying machines and return stations. It is a feat of engineering, kinda, sorta, and it's honestly a really fun and impressive farm to watch run. A while later now, a significant amount of work has actually been done on the bamboo farms, even if it doesn't really look like it. So looking in there, it just looks like an entire mess of sea lanterns, and that is because the bamboo needs like a light level of 9 or above to grow at the bottom and at the top of it. So they need like a whole lot of lights. So we installed these lighting pillars, and that took quite a while to figure out actually, because we had to make sure that every single piece of bamboo and the entire farm could grow to maximum height. And this stuff actually does grow pretty slowly when you want literally every single one of them to grow. So that took like 30 minutes of just basically waiting. Anyway, it is actually pretty bright in here, as you can see. All the lights on the walls really do help out, I think. And of course that helps all of the edges grow up. We got the flying machines installed, and that is going to be what actually harvests the entire farm as well. All the items will then drop onto the floor, and then naturally we have a bunch of hopper minecart lines that run beneath all of these things. So the majority of the farm is actually pretty much done now. We need to install all of the auto droppers and then a water stream for actually collecting all the drops from this farm, and that's what this little trench right here is for. So I think this is going to require probably about 20 to 30 auto droppers because it is 48 blocks long. You need extra auto droppers on either end because the flying machines carry a bunch of items on them, and then those items get like pushed off right here on the very edge. So you need like extra auto droppers. And otherwise, this thing just produces like a massive amount of items, so you seriously need like a lot of capacity when it comes to your minecart unloaders and your hopper minecarts in general. That is why this thing is actually so expensive. Just the item collection alone is like 90% of the cost of the farm. I had to go AFK for like 1 minute, and then of course the 2 trident drowns sneak up on me and completely murder my face. And I lost all of my levels, but I did get back all of my gear, and I avenged my own death on those drowns. The silly, silly drowns. Luckily, Minecraft was there to have my back, and now I have 7 levels once more. Getting back on my feet already. Thanks, Minecraft. I really appreciate the 7 levels. It's not like I had 210 or something when I died. This right here is the design that we're going to use for the auto droppers. It's really quite very simple. Anytime items go into the top or from the hopper minecarts, that's going to activate the system, activate the observer clock, and then power all the droppers. Nothing should ever be left inside of the droppers because it kind of fires too many times. So like if one item goes in here, it could fire like 2 or 3 times or whatever. The hopper minecarts are going to get launched by a redstone line that's going to be above those blocks, and they'll be launched whenever the flying machines launch, and they'll also get sent out again whenever the flying machine returns. So they'll have 2 goes to collect a whole bunch of items, and I think that that'll work rather well, actually. This is something that you might already do in your worlds, but whenever you are trying to build like a whole bunch of something in a row, or whenever you need to build something many times, I find it usually very helpful to build everything in stages. So like we just place down all of the observers, and then we need to place the blocks behind the observers, and then we're gonna place down all the droppers on top of the blocks, and then we're gonna place down the redstone. And I'm running out of blocks already, but this is fine. You kind of get the point. We can build everything relatively quickly. When doing this, it's a good idea to find a smart order of placing blocks in. So like I placed these blocks first, and now it's awkward to place in the observers correctly. So you would want to place in the observers first, and then the blocks, and then probably like, you know, the droppers, then the blocks behind those, and then the other observers, and then, I don't know, hoppers and like comparators, and pretty much no matter what you do, placing in these things is gonna be a pain. So that's all there is to that. Also, I just realized I placed hoppers on top of the pistons. Why would I do that? And what are you doing over here? Get away. Something that's nice about this design is that it's actually completely waterproof as well, so the entire thing is underwater. I don't need to clear out a single bit of air, except for the little water stream right here, and that's literally like a 2-block tall area. Not an issue at all, and I don't think you can even build this on Java, because the rails and the comparators and repeaters and stuff can't be placed underwater on Java. As far as I'm aware, they can't anyway. So there you go, Bedrock exclusives. Even if you do have some tedious placements, there are ways to make your placing more efficient. So like going in between 2 of these and placing down the piston on both sides. Or what we could do is just place in a line of blocks right here. The downwards flowing water kind of makes it hard to swim. But yeah, we can place in a line of blocks, and then bam, all of our pistons become incredibly easy to place. So there are smarter ways to do things if you feel like trying to speed up your workflow, and that is kind of how some people are able to get done so many things. So I've been thinking about this a lot lately, just like trying to figure out different little ways to speed up my build process, whether it be hotbar organization or hotkeys for switching to different tools. Like I added a hotkey for switching to the pickaxe. That saves so much time. It's such a small thing, but honestly, like, it actually does save so much time when it comes to breaking any blocks that I place, because scrolling across the whole hotbar is kind of an annoying thing sometimes. So you can find little teeny tiny ways here and there to speed up your gameplay. If you have any like speedy tips, then let me know in the comment section down below. I need as many speedy tips as I can get. It's also a good idea to make sure that you do things right the first time instead of having to go back through and then tear out something that you already built. So like these powered rails right here, I have to power them somehow, and I'm gonna place redstone blocks underneath them, which means I tear them all out, which means that the sand also falls down on top of me. So it just kind of slows down the entire build process. So planning ahead and making sure that you're doing things right for the future version of you is usually a very good idea as well. On that note, I need to go find some more redstone because I have no more left. And when in doubt, don't be afraid to rely on your friends to help you get things done faster, aka buy from their shops. Basically, we're going to take all of this redstone and we're going to turn it into a farm, and that's basically all there is to it. Actually, yeah, we're literally going to take every single bit of this. I don't care about the diamonds, I need that redstone. No funny commentary here, this is just like really, really enjoyable for me. That was so satisfying, and then I get to swim back and do it and again. This is great, and then I need to go place in a bunch of rails. I don't know how satisfying that's gonna be. How do I do the rails? Just boop, boop. Okay, I guess that's mildly sad. Oh, I'm not swimming anymore. Oh. Actually, this is incredibly easy. I don't even need to think about it. I just need to give the rails time to update, and that is really all there is to it. So we're gonna have one of these minecarts go ahead and do 2 lines of rails. So it's gonna go around, it's gonna go around the corner, it's gonna stop swimming, and then it's gonna bounce back and go back around the corner again and then get unloaded. So it should be a pretty simple and straightforward little thing to get going, and this should be the final thing that we need for this farm to actually be fully set up. So I'm placing in all the minecarts on the powered rails, and that appears to be resulting in profits because all of these things are going back to their correct locations, and that means that all the rail lines are working and everything is just about how we want it. Just to my luck, the one area that I actually clear out and make dry is a slime chunk, and of course we get a cute little baby slime in here. I'm inclined to kind of leave him there because he's just so adorable, and I don't have the heart to destroy him, basically. Anyway, I am just setting up the redstone line that is supposed to power all of the minecarts and stuff, and there they go. So I cleared out the water in here, built some little glass things around it, and I'm just trying to get the redstone dust in here. This is the only part of the minecart unloaders that actually needs redstone dust. And of course we're building underwater, so it's not quite as simple as it sounds. And the farm is now pretty much ready to go. It is looking very, I was gonna say nice, and then I actually looked at it and realized it's kind of super ugly. Regardless, everything is now technically done, and it should be fully ready to go. So all of the auto droppers are installed, all of the water streams down here are installed, and everything that gets harvested from the farm is basically just gonna float up into one giant pile, basically right underneath this block right here. So that'll be fun sight. Let's go ahead and press the button. I have a temporary button over here to activate the flying machines, and we can see it in action. It's a little bit slow because, you know, flying machines on Bedrock Edition, what can you expect? However, we now are hearing the many clicks. Oh my god, I forgot how loud these things are. And that's not even all the auto droppers going. Wait until the minecarts get fired again. But that is actually a very good sign. We should be seeing some items piling up on the end over here. And yes, we are indeed. Look at that. Very nice. Let's put another block right there to make sure they all stay together. As you can see, we have a lot of items on top of the flying machines. I have not installed the leaves to knock off all those items. And I also don't have any hopper minecarts over here to collect the excess bamboo that we lose. But I really am not worried about it. This thing produces so much bamboo. And we're going to have 2 of these. So a little bit of loss is perfectly fine. Anyway, we should see all these minecarts get launched once more, and now that this thing is going to be docking, and it decided to launch again. I'm not entirely sure why that happened. However, all the minecarts did get launched, and now this. This is the amount of clicking that you like to hear. Oh yeah. So much clicking. It's beautiful. I love it. That's not even like the full volume. I turned down the volume while editing. It is actually very loud. It's a ridiculous amount of bamboo. I love it. Look at all that right there. Crazy. You can really see just how much there is. So, like, we have 27 auto droppers going, and there's just so much of it. Also, I realized that I have this redstone line in a bad place because the observers are actually facing downwards, so they're powering that slime block, which is powering this redstone line, which is actually making them fly again. So that's kind of a convenient way of launching them again, all things considered, really. But I think if I move this back by a block, it should no longer launch like that. So from that extremely lossy harvest of a not fully grown farm, we still got about a single chest of bamboo, actually slightly more than a single chest, which is a pretty solid little harvest. Again, it is very lossy at the moment because we don't have those leaves installed, and it's also was not fully grown. So when this thing is fully grown and, you know, not as lossy, then you get about a double chest and a half or 2 double chests of bamboo per harvest. It's honestly kind of an insane farm, and now we need to build another one of those. Another thing to consider when trying to effectifize your Minecraft playing, and yes, I said effectifize, is transportation. Like, this is not a very effective way of getting around the server. However, it is certainly very, very fun. And honestly, pretty rewarding as well. I got through like half of that before I started recording, and now that I'm recording, I'm falling down all the time. Anyway, I'm just here to install the leaves, and the main thing that I wanted to bring up is that wasteful traveling can waste so much time in your world. Like, I gotta go back and forth all the time, and just going through the nether can burn like several minutes each way, and that can really cut into your playtime and hurt the amount of stuff that you can get done in a day. So think about how you travel and try to travel as fast and efficiently as possible. And now it is time to prepare the area for the next bamboo farm. So of course this one is also going to be a chunk wide and 3 chunks long. And luckily we don't really need to do that much digging for this one. The rails need to be at Y38, meaning that the sand is going to be right here. And then it's basically going to be 16 blocks tall. And that takes over a double chest of glass blocks just for all the walls going around here. Again, it's not really that great to build it underwater. However, I think it looks better underwater where you're not really going to see it that often compared to having this giant hunking build above ground. Like last season, if you remember, we had to build a giant building, factory building, around our bamboo farms just to hide them. Like, they are legitimately huge builds. Why is there clay underneath the ocean? I haven't seen that before. Anyway, they're huge builds, and I'd rather have them underwater where I'm not going to see them that often and where it's going to be easier to hide them in general than above the water where it's going to be very difficult to make them blend in with the surrounding areas and make them be at all beautiful. Something I do that does technically waste a lot of time is collect all the items. I hoard literally every item in the game. Like, if it's laying on the ground, I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna put it in a chest somewhere. So technically this does waste a lot of time. However, it also saves a lot of time later on where you have just a bunch of excess resources like gravel or stone or dirt that you can use for various other projects, and you don't have to go resource gathering later because you've just been saving up and hoarding everything the entire time. So it's kind of a trade-off, and also it's kind of like, it's just a bad habit of mine. I really need to learn to throw away more things and just not pick up items. But I want to pick them up. It's so satisfying. I would just like to inform you that all of the gold that we got from fighting the withers in the last episode is now being put towards powered railed for more farms. As you can see, everything does tie together. It was the plan all along. I didn't plan that at all. It's just happy coincidence. Happy coincidence. Well, I installed all the rails. As you can see, it looks rather nice. However, you might notice there's an issue. And this just goes to show the power of double checking everything. So these sea lanterns mark out the chunk border, you know, 16 blocks between that. And you'll notice that there's 2 extra blocks, and I did not notice that until I placed down the final piece of rail all the way over there. So I gotta move everything over by 2 blocks. Yeah, I gotta go rip up a bunch of rails now. I feel really dumb. I realized that I also got the chunk borders wrong on this edge as well. It needs to go 1 block further over. And I just now noticed that because this was not lining up. We had 4s going all the way along the row and then a 3. And I was like, that's not right. It's not lined up. So I double checked, and I was correct. It is not lined up. So I need to add in another line of rails right here. As you can see, things are coming along rather well. I just need to place in the sand floor, and then we can start building up the walls and the ceiling, and then the really dreadful part starts beginning to happen. We need to clear out all the water. It's honestly quite dreadful. Keeping on the topic of being efficient while playing, I set up a little bit of a macro on my mouse to spam right click, and now I can place blocks extremely quickly. So as long as I hold down that little button, it'll just keep spamming right click, and I can just spam place all of the blocks in the world. Now sometimes the blocks lag out a little bit, so it's not quite as efficient as it could be, but it's still very, very, very quick compared to placing them all one at a time, like how you normally do. Of course, you're still placing them one at a time, but it's just like all more or less instantly placed due to the speed of the macro. So I built up the entire floor down there, and I've built up the walls within about 20 or 25 minutes. Honestly, it's gone really, really smoothly. Oh yeah, this is real nice. Doing it 2 blocks tall is actually significantly more efficient than doing it 3 blocks tall. I never realized that. And then of course, if you even slightly misaim, then you just misplace like 5 blocks in a row. But yeah, this is real nice. I like this a lot, actually. I'm gonna be using this macro all the time, and that's gonna save me so much time. I love it. Why did I not do this like years ago? I'm pretty sure my bamboo farm wants to be a fish farm, because look how many fish are in this thing. I haven't seen this many fish the entire time I've been building, but all of a sudden they're just like all around me. It's kind of annoying when I'm trying to place blocks. You probably don't want to hear about the macro anymore, but look how good this is. I love this so much. You might not think it saves that much time, but like, it really, really does. The time that it saves adds up tremendously quickly. About as quickly as it places blocks, really. The vast majority of the sand is now placed in, and I'm about to need some more caffeine up in here for all this. Jeez, it has taken a while, even with the massive spam click button that I have at my disposal. But as you can see, we now have most of this thing gridded out. You can't really see it that well from the inside, but luckily, this thing's made out of glass, so we can just go above it. Yeah, that actually legit looks kind of cool. Design ideas. I like it. Anyway, we need to take all of our sponges in there, kind of similar to how we did the sand, and then basically drain out every single square of this area. That way, eventually, this entire thing will be completely dry. Now, these things are a little bit wider than they should be. Ideally, they would be 4 by 4, and the middle section is, but the sides are like 6 by 4, so it takes more sponges than you might expect. Oh, also, I'm doing it sillily. I need to do this in the smart way. What I need to do is I need to break the sponges as I'm placing them, and while I'm going back down. That way I can, you know, actually get them back into my inventory. So, yeah, this is basically what I gotta do, like 30 or so times. I'm not exactly sure how many squares I gotta clear out, but it's a lot. 5,000 years later, I have moved all of the water out of here and into a sponge, and I have now removed all the sand walls as well. This thing is ready to be expanded. I need to put a little room on either end for the flying machines and for the return stations, and then we get to plant in all the bamboo, which is honestly kind of the funnest part, because then you get to watch it grow and parkour all over it. And this has just taken an incredible amount of time. Luckily, I haven't broken any shovels or broken my sanity yet, so let's continue on, shall we? Unfortunately, we are kind of running out of time for today's episode, and I'm running out of time to build these things in general, but there really isn't that much more to do. I can get this one finished up on another live stream. Really, all we need to do is install the flying machines, get the unloaders installed, and then plant the bamboo. The vast majority of all the work is now officially done, so essentially you've seen the entire entire build process of one of these farms in today's episode, just a little bit backwards. We started off with one of these things, and then we built in the flying machines and the bamboo and the unloaders, and then we continued to build up the entire box. So you've kind of seen how to do the entire thing. It is quite the grind. Just getting this box in place takes like 50 to 95% of the time of installing the entire farm. Now, I do need your guys' help. Yet again, I'm asking for your aesthetic help. I have no idea how to decorate the outside of this, and I've left myself in quite the conundrum with this. I mean, honestly, this is garbage looking. I have no idea how to fix this or how to make it at all good. So, please help. I require your assistance. Please. You are my only hope. And with these two bamboo farms installed, you can kind of see the vision of the base slowly but surely coming together even more than it already has. So again, this is our scale model. We have the Guardian farm represented by these blocks, the kelp farms represented by those, and now the bamboo farm on either side has been installed. I'm not exactly sure how to connect together the bamboo farm and the kelp farm because we wanted to have kind of like a circular walkway kind of curving around from one farm to another. Now, the very bottom of that farm appears to be directly above the top of this farm, so they're not even on like the same plane, and that makes it a little bit awkward to connect them together. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to decoration, and again, that is where you guys come into play. And that is going to do it for today's episode of Truly Bedrock Season 2. I hope that you have enjoyed. Of course, if you have, make sure to leave a like on the video. It significantly helps out the video and the channel a ton. If you are new here, then consider subscribing so you don't miss a future content that I release. And otherwise, I'll see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you again ever so much for watching. And then there was silence.